Welcome back, everyone. This is, I don't know if you guys have been following my videos for the past couple of years, but I bought this house back in 2018, and this whole area was just a dust bowl, just dirt. And due to some specific situations, it's not a good place to build a deck. Not a lot of sun. When the trees fill in, there's not a lot of sun here, so wood will probably rot. There's not enough, it's not enough, it's not deep enough. Well, look at that. I mean, it's the ground level to the siding is like, I don't know, 8 inches, maybe 9. And the window ledge, there used to be a window here, is at ground level. So I'd have to dig all this down and then potentially undermine the garage slab, because when they built this house, that garage slab is just maybe a foot below surface. So it should be 3 feet, but they had different ideas in 1954. It hasn't been an issue, but still. I didn't want to dig this down, and then you got the yard. It's like grading is all wacky here. So I was going to do a patio, or sorry, a paver area. Do it all in pavers, and that was going to get pretty expensive and laborious, time-consuming. I still have to dig down to rebuild the grade with paver base, and it just gets expensive from there. So then I had this brilliant idea. What about gravel? Gravel is a legitimate choice for a patio, and it has the added benefit of not requiring a permit because it allows water to soak through. So no permit, number one. Number two, it's cheap. This whole project cost me about $400, maybe $500, and doesn't look half bad. Anyway, so that was the solution we came up with. And then I went out and I bought a new picnic table so that we have a nice place to sit. We had a glass table. I don't like glass patio tables. They make me nervous because when the wind picks up suddenly, the umbrella takes it over, it could shatter, and I don't want that. Also, they're very cheap looking, and I just didn't like it. So I bought a new picnic table from a local craftsman who builds them to supplement his income, I guess. Anyway, he does a beautiful job, and I love that table. It's very heavy and very solid. Anyway, so in other news, as you can see, I just picked up a new grill. So for the past 16 years, I've been using a Weber Spirit E210, which I bought. It was my very first grill. I bought it when I was 23. It was my very first purchase in my condo that I bought back then. And I love that grill so much and had so much good luck with it. I decided to get another Weber, but this time back then I was just starting out. I didn't have really any money, and I didn't want to buy some throwaway grill that would give me 5 years of use and then I have to buy a new one. So I went with the Weber, and that was definitely worth every penny. I actually found the receipt for that grill because we just gave it away. It still worked after 16 years and some upgrades over the years. I upgraded it to stainless steel interior parts, and it was just such a good grill. But anyway, we gave that away to a family that was in need, and I made some last-minute repairs. I put a new igniter in it, and what really triggered me to get a new grill was, we have a lot of barbecues here. We have family, we have friends over, and the little E210 was great for just, me. I'm still technically a bachelor. I'm not married, but it was just me in a tiny little condo. Nobody really came up there, and it was the perfect size. But now we have more people coming over, and I'm doing a lot more grilling. I grill a lot. Actually, I use the grill more than I use the stove, and I use it year-round. But I want to show you this grill. I didn't want to make a video of this because it's a grill, but I just There's a lot of things I want to talk about. So let's talk about the Genesis E325. This is the current model of this grill, and E325S LP. This is the LP model, not the natural gas model. This grill is, you can pretty much buy it in any configuration you want. If you don't care about anything, if you don't care about having anything extra, you can go over to Lowe's and you can pick this up for about $900 to $1,000. It's a lot of money for a grill, I think. But if it's something that you actually use and you cook most of your meals on a grill, it's worth the money. Now, in its base form, it comes with a you get your stainless steel flavorizer bars in burners, which is a Weber staple, above the Spirit line. But you also get a chrome-plated toasting rack, and you get cast iron grates. I actually kind of like the idea of the cast iron grates, but I do not believe they'll last very long. Once that enamel starts to chip off, it's pretty much, game over. The other thing is, with the base model grill, the chromed toasting racks, which expand, by the way, it's too hot to touch, but this thing folds over. With that, those will probably last 3 years. In my experience, I had to replace my toasting rack about every 3 years because it would just rust to nothing. And again, I use the grill all the time, year-round, even in the snow. So the other thing is, all the Genesis grills currently have what they call crafted. I think it's crafted is what they call it. What it really means is a modular cooktop, and you can customize it in many ways. So as the grill comes, you just get the left and the right, either stainless or cast iron griddles or grates. If you want, you can upgrade your right side to either a pizza stone. There's a wok that can go in here. I know, a wok, really? But yes, there's a wok. I went with a flat top grill, and and that's kind of what I wanted all this time. I wanted a good flat top grill because it's nice to make burgers and grill onions, or maybe make breakfast on this thing. You get a lot of flexibility with the griddle attachment. One of the dumb things that Weber has done, and I'm sorry, this is dumb, and I'll explain why I think so. To use any of these accessories, you have to buy a kit. It's called the Crafted Framework or Crafted Frame or something like that. And it is a chrome-plated steel rack that takes the place of the grate, and it comes with this enameled cast iron kind of filler plate, and it's about $50 to buy that. One of the things that they should do to encourage people to buy more accessories, more crafted accessories, is to include that with the grill. I really think they should just include it. You're already spending $1,000 on a grill. Throw in the $50 accessory bracket thing. I mean, if they want people to buy these accessories, they should encourage them to do so. And they're quality accessories. I mean, look at the thickness of this griddle. It's massive, and it's welded on all four corners. I mean, this is a well-made piece of equipment right here. So it's worth the money, but so all in, you're looking at about $150 if you want the flat top griddle and the frame. So that's extra. So, you're now about $1,150, $1,200 into a grill, but you do get your money's worth. And with a Weber, you will get your money's worth. There's a few things that I want to point out. So the cart is not the thickest steel I've seen, but it's probably equivalent to what I'm used to seeing on a Weber grill. I've had one for 16 years, and this is probably built just as well. The doors are double walled for some reason. I mean, they're just really heavy duty. It has you know, the built-in LP tank scale, which is actually surprisingly somewhat accurate. Your ignition module's right here. It's easy to remove and replace if need be, and it will probably fail at some point. Just push button ignition, which is pretty standard, by the way, on any grill made today. But the materials are just second to none, you know. I don't know what grade stainless steel this is. I haven't put a magnet to it, but if it's anything like my Spirit E210 from 2008, it's going to hold up pretty well. The thing about Weber is, you know, these grills aren't painted. This is enameled steel. It's glass. It's baked on. And I learned that when I was working on my previous grill, and I slightly bent something, and you could see that it was cracking like glass. That's a good finish. That's a long-lasting finish, hard wearing, and it will hold up as long as you don't do something stupid, like bend the steel. There's a few areas of concern I want to point out later on, but let's talk about optioning this out and why you should buy this from a dealer and not from a big box store. Okay, so this particular grill does not exist. According to Weber's online grill building tool, this grill does not exist. It is an Ace Hardware exclusive. So while Weber offers their grills in a variety of colors, they only offer this color in the upgraded Genesis Smart. It has the Smart accessories on it, which is like a built-in temperature probe. I'm not buying into any of that garbage because that stuff is stuff that'll break and it'll get expensive as the grill gets older. I'd rather just buy a wireless thermometer and use that. Anyway, it's not part of the grill, and it can be easily replaced when needed. So this grill in this deep ocean blue cannot be purchased from anywhere else. As far as I know, maybe specific dealers, but Ace Hardware just happens to be one of them. I really like this color, and I would have waited a month to get it. I mean, it's just a beautiful color, and it goes well with kind of the natural wood finish that we're going with this patio and the picnic. We're gonna oil that picnic table so it do like a Thompson's water seal or something. So we're gonna keep that natural wood appearance. The house is white with blue shutters. It just goes, you know. It's just a beautiful color, and you can get this in actually, I think, stainless, black, indigo, which is a nice color too. Indigo is more of a like a darker blue, kind of like a greenish blue. Bronze, which is also quite nice, and deep ocean blue. According to Ace Hardware, they sell it in all those colors, but you can't buy this color at Lowe's or Home Depot. Another feature that isn't even advertised, and I don't know why, this is really cool, and it's completely hidden, and I would have not have known it had it until I looked at this. I went in to buy some other stuff at the hardware store, and they just happen to have this exact grill, this exact SKU number, and it has a built-in cooking light. It's in the handle. It's a metal handle, and it's got a little button here. Now watch this. Push the button, open the lid, and the light comes on. It's got two LEDs hidden, completely out of plain sight, in the actual handle mounts. And it shines light down. I mean, this is the coolest thing ever. And it has a tilt sensor. You can't get this shit at Lowe's. Lowe's will not sell this to you. They don't have it. Lowe's is a volume reseller, and they only sell the most popular version of this grill, which is the cheapest version. So that right there was just mind-blowing. The fact that it has that. And to get the batteries out, it takes, I believe, C cells. And you just take this cap off, and there they are. There's your batteries. Look at that. How cool is that? It's like a Mac or an Apple Bluetooth keyboard, and everything is sealed with little rubber seals and O-rings. Just a beautiful design. Another thing that makes this an Ace exclusive is, like I said, it is the lower version of the Genesis, so it doesn't have all the bells and whistles and the crafted accessory cabinet, and it doesn't have a side burner. But if you buy it from Ace Hardware, you get the stainless steel racks, and you gotta see this to believe it. This is where when you're not using that rack, this is where it goes. And look at this. Look at how thick this is. This thing is so heavy. Oh my God. Oh, this thing is so freaking heavy. Now, from what I've heard, this particular rack is standard on the Summit line, which is the most expensive grill that they sell. And that's what makes this such a special model, because you want these. If you can get them, these will last a lifetime. Absolutely will last a lifetime. The one thing I don't like, so I've already scratched the grill because of this, but these hooks are made out of plastic and they like to come off. These are probably going to break at some point. No question about that. They will break, but I've already scratched. I'm going to have to touch this up so it doesn't rust. I'm thinking some black paint, but anyway. Yeah, these are really chintzy. Not too impressed with those. Now, there's a couple of parts that you're going to want to stock up on. So let me get this back to where it belongs. So in addition to those hooks, you're probably going to want to stock up on door pins. So the door is held in by a spring-loaded metal steel pin on top, but on the bottom, it's a plastic insert with a very thin plastic post. Now, I think this is on purpose and not so that, you know, because they want it to break so you have to buy more. I think it's a kind of like a mechanical fuse. If somebody accidentally trips over this door, that pin is going to snap off, and so will the door. But it's just a simple, probably 50-cent or dollar part to put it back on. But it's something you want to consider. The old Spirit series that I had, which had an enclosed lower cabinet, it used just a steel rod that went from top to bottom. I don't know. I think it's one of those pieces that you're going to have to replace as it gets older. Figured out my mistake. I put this on backwards. It goes on like this. My bad. I'm going to touch that up. It's not a big deal. And even if it was, all I would have to do is call Weber and say I need this panel because it arrives scratched, and they'd probably send me a new one. Not a big deal. So, like I said, I bought the griddle because that's kind of, we will use this all the time. Generally, it's just the two of us, and we only need this much grilling space, and I would only have to light off one burner. Oh, important thing to note, when you're lighting a burner on this grill, I've already turned the gas on. Each burner, you have to press the igniter. There's no crossover ignition on this model. My E210 and the E310, which is a 3-burner version, the 210 is a 2-burner. You could light one burner, the first one, and then you could light the second one automatically. Remember, this is how you blow your doors off and lose your eyebrows. Make sure that you don't do that, because if I open this burner up, it's not lighting. See? Delayed ignition because I waited. So this has a sear option. It's kind of like a 3.5 burner. And the sear zone is more than just a name. This is where your heat is. If you want to sear a steak on your griddle, light these 3 burners, and you're going to get some serious heat real fast. Now these knobs look like they're fitted for backlighting, and they are. If you buy the Smart Series version, which has the electronic gadgets and the lighting and everything, the lighting kit. Oh, that's another thing. So the lighting kit is part of that package. It does have backlighting for all the burner knobs, but it also includes that light handle that you see there. This is the only version of this grill, as I understand it, where you can get that lighting without paying for all that other bullshit. So, Ace Hardware. Really, Ace is the place. That's where you want to get this. You're going to get a better option package, I think, at Ace than you're going to get at Lowe's or Home Depot or even Walmart actually sells some Weber models, believe it or not. But yes, I understand some folks are going to look at this grill and say, oh my God, that's a lot of money, and it doesn't have a burner and there's a side burner and there's no infrared panel on this model and all this other shit. When you buy a Weber, you're buying it for the quality. You're paying for quality. You're not paying for features. You're paying a lot of money in comparison. Like, I could have bought a $300 grill with all these options, probably, and lighting and a side burner and all that happy stuff at Walmart, but it's going to last 3 years, maybe 4. And when it comes time to getting parts, probably not going to happen. So keep that in mind. You're buying this grill not because it's got the best features. You're buying it for its quality. This grill will probably last 20 years. I'm going to have to replace a few parts here and there, but the bulk of this grill will last 20 years. Like I said, my 16-year-old Weber E210 is still living its best life in another household. It'll probably go another 10 years. I have replaced a lot of parts on that grill. I upgraded the entire interior of that grill to stainless about 10 years ago. And because that's another thing. If you're buying a Spirit grill, they all have, as I understand it, they all have the enameled steel flavorizer bars. That's these triangle-shaped pieces underneath the grades. Those don't last. Mine lasted about, actually, I think the grill was about 7 years old when those started to fail. Yeah, they were rusting into nothing. And that's something you want to consider. And the grates on top, those porcelain coated steel, they don't last. You want stainless or cast iron. Cast iron is a good option too. It will last longer than the enameled steel for sure. But what I'm doing here anyway, just to get this out of the way, is I'm actually seasoning my griddle. This is required. So when you pull it out of the package, it's got a nice light oil on it, like a food grade oil. You got to wash all that off, and then you've got to treat it under heat with I'm using vegetable oil, but you've got to season this griddle. Otherwise, it'll rust and it won't have any non-stick properties. It's the oil, it builds up a polymer layer. Oil polymerizes at high temperatures, and that's what you're kind of doing. So here we are at a local Lowe's store. I thought it would be fun to go look at some grills on this wet, rainy Saturday afternoon. So I bought my Weber from a Weber dealer, which happens to be an Ace Hardware store. And after shopping at Lowe's first and then going to the Ace Hardware store, I quickly realized that the two stores are selling the same product, but they're really not. Well, let me clarify. Ace will sell you the same grill that Lowe's is selling for maybe a slight bump in price. Maybe not. Maybe they're the same price, but I didn't really look that deeply. But what I found was that when you go to places like Ace or any grill or authorized Weber dealer, you get some pretty interesting options. And you know, Weber as a supplier to these stores will kind of put together a package for each retailer to kind of tailor to their customers and their price ranges. In the case of Ace Hardware, you can buy a couple of different color options that are not available anywhere else. I believe the Indigo Blue is an Ace Hardware exclusive. The Deep Ocean Blue that my grill came in is available through multiple retailers, but only on the, I believe, the 4-burner or the upgraded models. Mine's only a 3-burner with a sear burner, so technically a 3-burner. And I was able to get mine in the Deep Ocean Blue with a handle light, which is an option that is reserved for the smart grill feature, or the grills that have the smart features built in, which is a slightly higher priced model. But at Ace Hardware, they will sell you that exact option on a lesser featured grill. What I found going through Lowe's is that they're selling these grills on price. So while I got a heavy, so that's another thing, is the grills, or the actual cooking surface on my Ace Hardware supplied model, is the exact same surface that you get on the much more expensive Summit range of Weber gas grills. They are, I believe, a 9mm thick stainless steel welded grate. Now, the stainless steel grills that Lowe's has from Weber are a slightly lesser, slightly thinner version. So again, Weber will sell, or they will produce grills for various retailers and various customers with features added or removed to meet a targeted price range. And again, Lowe's, they're selling on volume, and they really try to get the price down to its rock bottom. But you go to a grill dealer like Ace, or and there's others. Just the one that I went to, or a Service Star, or whatever local hardware store you might have, Aubuchon maybe. You're going to get a slightly better product, because the local hardware stores aren't selling the bottom of the barrel. They will sell you the bottom of the barrel if you want it, but they also have slightly better options. If you're spending more than $1,000 on a grill, you might as well spend a little bit extra to get what you want in both color, cooking surface, and other options. And you're just not going to get that at Lowe's. Just my 2 cents. We also look at some Char-Broil products and kind of compare the two. And so I'm actually filming this after I left the store. So the Char-Broil grills, which you can have for $250 and up, they really aren't well made anymore. There was a time when a Char-Broil grill was actually quite well made. When I was growing up in the 90s and early 2000s, and even in the 80s, the Char-Broil grills that I grew up with, that my neighborhood was quite fond of, a lot of my neighbors had them, my parents had a few of them over the years, they had a nice heavy-duty cast aluminum firebox. Nowadays, they no longer use that. Now it's a stamped steel box, porcelain coated. It's one of those, it'll rust out in maybe 5 to 7 years, and then the grill's trash. It's really absolute bottom of the barrel quality. You pick up a corner, and I'll do this in the video when you watch in the next couple scenes, but we're going to pick up the corner of the biggest 4-burner Genesis that Lowe's carries. And then we're going to pick up the corner of even a small little, much smaller Char-Broil. And you can see right off the bat that there just is no rigidity to the Char-Broils anymore. They are absolute flimsy grills. They are not what they used to be. When they made that change, I don't know. And while you may get more features on a Char-Broil at a lower price point, like for example, you can get infrared heating, you can get a nice direct infrared heating, you can get things like side burners, and you can get those features in a Weber, but it's going to cost. While you can get those features for less money from a Char-Broil, what you're really paying for when you go with a Weber, or even a Napoleon, which is a very strong competitor to Weber. They are a Canadian company. Napoleon makes some amazing products as well. But what you're paying for when you go Weber or Napoleon is you're paying for a quality product. You're paying for a grill that, you can use and own for for over a decade. In my case, I bought one of the lowest end Weber grills in 2008, and it lasted me until 2023. Nearly 16 years of consistent grilling performance. And while I made a few upgrades to that grill over the years, I replaced the original porcelain grates with stainless. Same with the flavorizer bars. It was always an amazing grill, and I really loved using it. I grill year round, so I don't mind spending a little extra money on something that will actually hold up to time. I don't mind spending the money because, again, I grill all year long, even in the dead of winter. So, you know, it's to me, it's a purchase that I intend to make once every about 20 years. And I don't mind spending, you know, $1,100, $1,200 on something if it's going to last. And based on what I'm seeing, you're not going to get that out of a Char-Broil. Not anymore. Maybe at one time you could, but the new ones are just utter crap. And the other thing is my Weber, my 2008 Spirit E210, which was the 2-burner model, up until the day I gave it away, and I gave it away in working condition. It was working fine. I gave it away to a family in need, and it still has its original burners, and they're still good. There's nothing wrong with them. You're not going to get that kind of longevity out of a Char-Broil. But if money is an issue, if there's not a lot of money set aside for this purchase, the good news is you can still get a Weber grill for under $500. It'll be a 2-burner Spirit series, but it's a damn fine product. It's going to last, and you're going to love the cooking quality that you get out of a grill like that. So anyway, let's head into the store and let's just take a look at some grills and kind of see what's going on. All right, so I just wanted to throw this last bit of information in here before I upload. So I actually did go to Lowe's, and I compared the grills there to what I bought at Ace Hardware. And what I'm finding is the Ace Hardware model that I have, which I believe is a special edition or a special package that Weber made for their Weber dealers. Ace is, of course, one of them. It does have some pretty interesting features that you won't get at Lowe's or Walmart or Home Depot. And the blue paint, or the blue porcelain enamel finish, is one of those things. They don't sell that at the big box stores. But the handle light, which I don't think I talked enough about this handle light in the video, but it's built into the chrome steel handle, and the battery goes in one side and there's a button on the other. And the battery case holds 3 C-cell batteries, which on an LED system is going to give you some massive runtime. But merely switching the light on, and you open the grill up like this, turns the light on. So there's actually a tilt sensor in there. So when the grill's closed, the lights aren't burning your batteries up. It's a pretty nice feature. And it's very discreet. You can't even tell it's there unless you know what you're looking for. So if you happen to be looking at grills at your local dealer, look for the little black button on the side of the handle. It is the coolest thing. But the other thing I want to point out is there are some hardware upgrades to these dealer-only models. The grates, they are significantly heavier than the ones that I'm seeing at Lowe's. It looks like Weber is producing 2 sets of grates for these that are stainless steel, but when you go with a dealer grill, you're getting the thicker stainless steel grates that actually, as I understand it, are from the Summit model series. The Summit is of course their top of the line Yuppie grill, which it's a nice grill, but has a lot of frills. So getting those heavier stainless steel grates is a nice thing because they'll certainly hold up to. I don't know why you would bend them, but whatever. They're much heavier. The other thing I want to point out is, of course, the. No, that was pretty much. That was pretty much the long and short of it. better grates on the stainless models, and the built-in handle light. Now, again, this is a special package that Ace sells, and again, they might be doing different things for different dealers, but you got to really realize that when you're buying from Lowe's, Home Depot, whatever, Amazon, you're buying on volume. They're buying them in volume, in one color, one option, and they sell a lot of them. So they're selling on price for the most part. If you want something above that, you've got to go to a dealer, and that's where Ace Hardware comes in. And you know, they're selling a slightly better version for more money. So if you're not too price conscious and you know you're going to keep this appliance around for a long time, spend the extra money, support your local hardware store, shake their hand, and get a better grill. Again, it's going to cost a little bit extra, but for me, this is a purchase that I intend to make once every 20 years. And the first grill that I bought, it lasted 16 years before I grew out of it, and it's still going. So it's probably being used right now in its new home. So I don't mind spending the extra money for the better grill and supporting the local stores, which are locally owned. But definitely consider that when you're shopping for your next grill. And again, in the video that I put up, we took a look at some Char-Broils. I don't want to trash these grills because, I mean, there are people who legitimately, this is the best grill they can afford, and they are happy with them, and they work. But the way they're being made as of right now, they're not going to last. And for just a little bit more money, you can get yourself into a base model Weber Spirit, which is an amazing grill in and of itself. Still built in the classic Weber fashion and should last many, many years. My 16-year-old grill was indeed a Weber Spirit 2-burner stripper model grill, and I never had a problem with it. It was a great machine, great appliance. So, I wouldn't waste my money on a Char-Broil. They are so poorly made today. When I was a kid, that wasn't the case. They were still pretty well put together, but now, no, they're garbage. Don't waste your money. So, anyway, on with the show. So why don't we take a look at a couple of Webers at a big box store. This is a Lowe's store, and you've got the entry level
wire cutting area
all the way to a 4-burner on the other side. These are the Genesis grills, and they're all pretty much stripped down versions of what you get from a Weber dealer. This particular one is the entry level, and it's not a bad grill. $900. It's quite pricey, sure, but you at least get nice, look like enameled cast iron grates. This is the reason I didn't buy this grill. I was going to buy this particular model, but this one has a chromed warming rack, and I don't like these because they rust. But at least it's the expandable rack, and it can be stored off to the side like that. I'm talking really quietly because I don't want to draw attention to myself, but electric ignition, they're all like that now. And it is the same basic body, same basic grill that I have. And again, it doesn't have the lighted handle option, which is a unique feature that you can only really get from a Weber dealer. Because they option their grills out a little bit differently. Now moving along up the chain, we've got for $1,059. This is basically the same grill as that. The only difference being it has the crafted kit built in or included. I bought this as a separate option. This is a $110 or so, actually $150. You get the carbon steel griddle with the bracket that it rests on. And again, these look like they might actually be stainless. Yeah, I think these are stainless. It's a little bit of an upgrade. But, you know, not a bad grill. Same thing I have, but again, no grill light, and you can only get these in black from Lowe's. Moving along up the chain, you've got a brushed stainless for $1,029. That's actually moving down a little bit. This one has, now I've got a the stainless grills on mine, but these I believe are a slightly lesser grade. They may still be stainless, but they're not as thick as what I have. Because mine, it takes like 2 hands to carry this. This one, not so much. But anyway. And then you've got a, again, I believe these are stainless, but it looks like the hardware on mine is a little bit beefier than this one. And again, you don't get the grill light or anything like that. But you do get a nice quality piece of equipment for $1,029. But if you pick up this grill by the end here, it moves as one unit. That is a solid piece of kit, pretty well built. In fact, even this guy right here, this big 4-burner version, look at how solid that thing is. I'm going to show you what that looks like on a what I would call an entry-level grill, a charbroil. But this is the 4-burner version. This is a nice unit. I don't need anything this big, so I bought the 3-burner, but it's called the 4-burner, even though it has 5 burners technically because of the sear burner that's right in the middle there. And take a look at this. So this is $1,650, and this is chrome. If it's shiny like this, this is chromed steel. This isn't going to last. Now, if you buy this from a dealer, I believe you get a stainless, or have the option of getting a stainless warming rack, which is what you want. It'll last the life of the grill. What's nice about this one is you can have the crafted kit in the 4-burner model. You can get the crafted kit, which is a griddle or a pizza stone. Then you've got another good section. Whereas on the 3-burner, it's a little smaller. But, and again, being a Weber grill, you get the flavorizer bars, which are designed to vapor off anything that drips on there. It kind of smokes off and it helps to flavor the food. You can only get that in a Weber, and maybe even a Napoleon, which Napoleon is a good competitor. And they've got a few of those here too. They're priced almost equivalently. Here's a Napoleon grill. This one's $875. Not a bad price. I kind of like these. A little bit unique. They got the flavorizer bars, just like a Weber. These are a Canadian grill. I believe they're Canadian made. And again, good quality. Pick up one end of it. You know, it's a solid piece. Now, let's take a look at some entry-level Webers. We've got the Spirit series, which is a great product. These are what you buy if you don't need a Summit and you're, or a Summit or a Genesis, and you're just like myself. When I started out, just a bachelor living in a tiny condo, I bought a 2-burner Spirit. Now, these again are very well made, but the problem with the Spirits is that the internals are in porcelain enameled steel. And what happens with these is as they get older, about 10 years or less, the porcelain begins to chip away and they do rust. These flavorizer bars can be replaced and they're not expensive. I upgraded mine to stainless. I don't know if that's an option on these, but it is something to consider. I had to buy a bigger grill brush. Whoops. And then you've got, this is a 2-burner version. Again, a nice product. Propane goes underneath. Same electronic ignition system as the others. And then you've got your, I don't think it's supposed to work like that, but oh, there we go. There's your grease drip gun. And all the Webers use these little foil trays for dripping. And then we get down to these, the charbroils. I would never buy this. This is 300 bucks. I mean, it's a good entry-level grill, but definitely not very well made. You just saw me do the lift test on the Webers. Let's do that on the charbroil. Watch this. The whole freaking grill. It is the most flimsiest piece of shit I've ever seen. Porcelain steel box. And, you know, nice cast iron grates, but they're very thin. I could see these breaking. Probably not, but looks like an aluminized bottom pan, which is okay, fine. But ultimately, not the best of quality. It's probably the worst. In fact, when I was a kid, charbroils weren't bad. They were actually quite good. They used an aluminum box, just like a Weber does today. Solid construction, not anymore. This is what they're producing. Oh yeah, stainless steel, whoop-de-freaking-do. But you do get a side burner. But if you're looking at something if you're shopping for a $300 grill, you're better off to spend a little extra money on perhaps an entry-level Weber. It'll last a lot longer. This is $250. Wow, this is even cheaper. Oh wow. Yeah, this is really, really second rate. It's not very nice. But electronic ignition, look at how flimsy this thing is. That is so sad. But, I mean, wow. Just wow. Anyway.